on as big games. The risk they're running, though, is that the rest of the team aren't playing.
There was no Taylor.
Well enough, right? Well, that is a relatively big loss, isn't it? That's a big miss. But there was still a Watts on the field. There was still a Danny Houghton on the field.
Talanoa was in the 19-man squad, so you got to assume he was not selected. Yeah. Although young Nick Rawsthorne got to go on the wing, didn't he, in his place? Yeah. So maybe he wasn't fit enough to be selected, but he's in the 19.
Well, maybe Rawsthorne's pulling up trees in training and showing the right. Maybe Lee Radford's looking for some positive attitude from young English players, because he goes on to play in the game against Catalans the following Monday.
Do you know what I'd be questioning? Why he's played his only 3 front-line props in this squad. He started them all because he started with Green at loose forward,
right?
And I don't know if he's done that a couple of times recently, where he started with Watts, Taylor, and Green as well.
Do you think he's matching up against a pack like Lee's, though, which is a bigger, older, wilier pack, and wants to meet them with aggression and then rotate down when they have their dip in terms of fitness?
Well, it doesn't work, does it? Because they're bringing Sam Hopkins, who's full of desire to do something because he's not getting picked consistently, and then Danny Tickle, who is going to want to do a good job at Hull FC, where he played for so many years. So it seems like a strange. I don't know. I don't know if that's a factor, but you've got to give credit to Lee. What they were able to do is find space out wide, and actually, they have been able to get over the line a few times when they've been able to do that. When they've been able to win in the middle, so give them space to put moves on. They've looked like a totally different side. And it's just they're not consistently able to do it. But well done to them for doing it just about long enough in this game.
I'm interested to see what the error count was in this one, because that has hamstrung Lee quite frequently throughout the season. What did the stats tell us?
Well, looking at the stats, there's one key number that highlights how Hull lost this one. 17 errors they made, compared to 10 by Lee. Right. So otherwise, slightly more metres, but a big 1.1 metre per carry better average gain, an extra clean break, a penalty fewer, and a big 3.7% tackle success. Hull on the numbers look like they should have been winners, but they're the things that have been falling down for Lee. You see, the tackle success and the penalties, but they were able to keep everyone around and
there you go.
Win.
Yeah, that's it. No credit to them. So who stood out for, let's do Hull FC first. Who stood out for them?
Oh yeah, sorry, I did it the wrong way around, but actually Hull had more standout performers stats wise, surprisingly, I suppose. Jamie Shaw, 2 tries, 131 metres. Albert Kelly, 1 try, 2 try assists, 186 metres, 3 clean breaks. Liam Watts, 45 tackles, 14 of them marker tackles. Danny Houghton, though, trumped that, 59 tackles, 13 of them marker tackles. Mark Snade, despite apparently being noticeably injured, 2 try assists.
There you go. So for the victorious Leeds Centurions, who stood out?
Danny Tickle, 124 metres. Matty Dawson, 2 tries, 2 clean breaks. So he converted his chances, which is a question mark over Matty Dawson we have. And Atalaya Vea, 2 tries.
There you go. So tries from down the middle as well for the forward. Right. Whilst Hull FC were getting beaten at home, Warrington were getting beaten on the road. 40 points to 0 they were beaten by Leeds Rhinos in front of 14,974 down at Headingley.
Yeah, and Mitchell Dart says, "Oh my days, starting the weekend on a perfect note. Matt, Man of Steel Parcell was brilliant, and Rob Burrow turning back the clock. Have watched that last try at least 5 times this morning, and it's not even 10 a.m.
There you go. John Hamilton said, "Some good periods from Leeds and deserved the win. Warrington were really poor though, and that led to the impressive scoreline. From a Leeds point of view, Shane Golding went off as he looked more of an attacking threat than previous weeks, but Sutcliffe is a cracking backup. Delaney's injury looked painful. Hope both are back soon."
Rich Wilkinson said, "Now then, lads, what a performance from Leeds. OK, wire a shit, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Parcell is pure class in attack and defence. He is the buy of the season. Burrow rolled back the years, Sutcliffe is improving every week, and Briscoe earned some much needed confidence. Fuck it, even James Shard had a good game. Leeds have something this year. We will be there or thereabouts at trophy time."
So Popper for Men said, "Now then, cunts, what a charming chap you're turning out to be." Yes.
That's not game.
That's not sticking.
No.
How good were Leeds? Wire associate, even Briscoe had a good game. Burrows tries gold. Didn't you say he'd lost his speed last year? Let's have a minute for Wire's smug fans. They can eat a bag of blue and amber dicks. Gidley found the form that saw him laughed out of the NRL. Ratchford got skinned all night, even by Jamie Jones Buchanan. If he keeps Zach out of the number 1 shirt, I'll show my arse at Suncorp."
Brian Davies said, "I think Wire are the Leeds of 2016. They seem to believe they are too good to finish in the bottom 4 despite repeatedly losing. This was poor from Wire, and they simply didn't seem to know what their plan is."
Yes. Cutthroat Jake said, great performance from Leeds, only slightly tarnished by Warrington being pretty crap. Goldie made a great start before he sadly came off injured, but Sutcliffe did a good job replacing him. As for Parcell, you might as well give him Man of Steel now.
Wire Joe said, considering what I said last week about the lads putting in a full 80 minutes of shy, I think they can consider it a job well done. Utterly atrocious.
Poor old Wire Joe. I do feel the genuine despondency in Wire Joe's messages, even though he gets in touch with us pretty religiously. I do feel, I was going to say it's the hope that kills you. I do feel the pain for him, bless him. But it's the same question we've been asking from other games this week. Was it a case of Leeds being utterly dominant, or was it a case of Warrington being garbage? And as good as some of the individuals are for Leeds, particularly Matty Parcell, who, again, has been a phenomenal purchase for him. I think everyone agrees he's probably been the import of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, other buys of the year contenders, I'd say Senny Lafayette definitely deserves a nod, along with Eden and Hardacre. So let's not get too excited about Parcell necessarily being head and shoulders above anyone else, but
I don't say it's head and shoulders. But for me, he is because he's played such an active role in that pack and that go forward and that big turnaround in what was a team that was outside the top 8 last year and are now, top 4, top 2 contenders as far as I'm concerned. Senny Lafayette has been good and solid, and he's peaking. So if he carries on, he'll be in that conversation. I always get disinclined to give buy the year and play the year awards to wingers because I always feel like they're standing on the shoulders of other giants to get there. So. For me, he's the buy of the season, but obviously there's other people are having good seasons as well. I'll certainly give you that. But it all came off for Leeds in this one, so fair play to those guys. You've got to say it's looking good for them.
I mean, it was a lot closer at half time than it was at full time, and it just looked like, I don't know where the level of interest in covering the men and that sort of stuff came from, with getting into position quickly. All of that seemed to just go out the window for Warrington. The enthusiasm for the chase, as it were, fell away. But when Leeds are getting quick play of the balls repeatedly, then they're just so hard to stop. And they won the contact, they won the speed of the play battle massively, and it's this game between these two sides that's totally crucial. The other thing is Warrington just don't know how to finish a play. They don't know how to finish a set when they're in the opposition attacking zone. They had plenty of chances early on in this game, certainly, to be the first team to register a score, to be competitive, to be in with a chance of beating these Rhinos, but they just didn't finish their opportunities, and then they just completely fell away in the second half, and Leeds were so much faster than they were. It was unbelievable. Yeah,
there is a real confidence deficit at Warrington, isn't there, at the moment? I think start to go against them. They're not doing as well as they would hope in terms of turning it around. I think in the pack as well, from what I've seen of them over the last couple of weeks, I'd be interested to know, and I know it's not something we've got a handle on, but meters after contact stats for the Warrington pack, every time I see someone run the ball that's not Chris Hill, I see him making very little and getting very little out of the opposition's forwards as well. So maybe there's a fitness issue at play there too.
I just don't know if like Brian said about them not having a plan, I don't know if players are trying their own things too much and then maybe tiring themselves out because they're trying to do everything themselves or whatnot. But the links don't work, and they keep playing different players all over the place, and it's not working out.
It's not working out for them, is it? So what did the stats tell us then? Was it as broad in terms of statistics as it was in terms of the scoreline?
Well, both teams were able to gain ground well. 8.3 metres per carry average game for both of them. But thanks to the 13-18 error count and 6-7 penalty count, Leeds had much more of the ball and were much more clinical with it. Nearly 600 more metres from 72 more carries, 10 clean breaks to 3, 7 tries to none.
Okay,
that underlines it.
There you go, absolutely. Individually then, who stood out for us, apart from hashtag not buy of the season, Matt Parcell?
Well, he's in the conversation, isn't he? That's for sure. I don't dispute that. I was just throwing other names in there for you. Matt Parcell, though, with 3 tries, certainly felt like the Leeds fans survived the season right now. Rob Burrover tried 2 try assists, 7 tackle busts, 173 metres and 2 clean breaks, wound back the clock in an explosive second half performance. People talked about the young fullback going off, but what it meant is Rob Burrow came on and got to sort of hop in and interchange a bit with Matt Parcell, and when the speed of the game picked up, having 2 players who could jump out of dummy half like those two could, And Burrow took full advantage of that in the last 15 minutes or so of the game, didn't he? Jamie Jones-Buchanan with a try on a ridiculous line. I mean, he speeded through that hole and raced away. Brilliant for the...
it's another one rolling back the years, isn't it?
123 metres as well to boot. Ryan Hall, 199 metres, 5 tackle bus. Sky highlighted the work he'd done starting sets because he got closed down when he was trying to get away, didn't he? When he made his break, his half break and stuff. He didn't look like he's got the wheels anymore, but he certainly does the hard work for his team setting the platform. And then Tom Briscoe bounced back from his humiliation the week before.
We didn't half pan him last week as well. How many times is this going to happen?
With a try assist, 162 metres and 2 clean breaks. Yeah, do you feel a bit like Gary Schofield?
I feel like, if Leeds fans are going to credit me with, we've got some Leeds fans that listen to the show and they're big friends of ours, so if you're going to give me some credit for Tom Briscoe's improved performance, then yeah, I'll take that. I didn't hold back particularly, did I? What about Warrington then? Did anyone stand out for them?
Well, yeah, Ryan Atkins, 101 metres, 2 clean breaks. Matty Russell, 7 tackle bus, 125 metres. Stephen Rashford, 160 metres. And Darryl Clark, 48 tackles, 3 successful offloads.
There you go, okay. So, at the same time, still on Friday night down in Salford, a relatively sombre affair given what had gone on during the week. Salford Red Devils were 50 points to 12 winners at home against the Catalan Dragons in front of 4,957.
Malcolm Tios said, only 2 numbers matter, attendance and cash for victims. The rest is just a trip to England, run around a bit in a bit cooler weather.
There you go, fair enough.
Well, and we know what the crowd was, almost 5,000. I'm not sure what the total amount raised was, but great work by the club putting something on and trying to show unity with their, Manchester City neighbours.
That's it, exactly. No, it was wonderful. All the money, for those of you who don't know, from all the proceeds from that night's game was donated to the Manchester Arena Fund. So tremendous gesture from the club, isn't it?
I see stories of kids going down and donating the pocket money and that sort of people phoning up to buy tickets because they couldn't go to the game and actually give a donation in person and that sort of stuff. So that's all great, yeah.
Yeah, it was fabulous. And the other person to get in touch with us was Owen. I'm presuming it was Mr_Base and he's just not stuck that on there, but you never know. He said, finally get to a game live and Salford treated to that. Great performance all over the field. Both edges brilliant in attack, hard running, passionate forwards, determined defence. Best part though was the crowd. Felt like watching Salford of years gone by. Noisy, singing and enjoying themselves. Tribute to the victims of the Manchester attack was also brilliant. So yeah, the under the radar Salford Red Devils continue to win impressively. Fabulous pack. Attractive rugby league being played out the back by the halves that are guiding them round. The workload being shared sort of 3 ways. And they're just some phenomenal players out wide. I could watch Junior South play rugby league all day, every day for the next 10 years.
It's one of those sort of characters that you get on board with, sort of thing.
Big time.
Remy Castor getting sin-binned in the 3rd minute probably didn't help his team's cause, but it saw Salford run out to 28-0 at half-time and the game was done, weren't it? And that meant some of those things you're saying about, obviously it would have started with a sombre atmosphere and that, unity and solidarity, but it got to be a celebration of unity, of the getting together for the cause and whatnot. Yeah, and I think that it's great that Salford were able to play that role this week.
Yeah, definitely so. And they've got key performers across the park. I won't talk about Catalan because they were pretty woeful in this, weren't they? But you literally look at them from 1 to 13 and the 17 lads that eventually take the field for Salford, and everyone's chipping in at the moment. And there's a real. Whereas before we've looked at Salford sides and thought that individually this could add up to being a really good team. Actually, we're looking at the team now and thinking this is a group of guys who Ian Watson has now got working together and has got playing with that commonality of cause as well. So that's where their season's coming from. And I think under any normal circumstances, were it not for what we'll call the Castleford Tigers effect, we'd be raving about Salford this year. And I made a point of making sure I watched a bit more of them this weekend after we were kind of had it brought to our attention that they are going a bit under the radar.
Well, we didn't notice that Junior Sal didn't play in this game from what we watched.
Did he not play?
No.
Maybe I'm thinking of the game on Monday then.
Yeah.
But he's still a quality player and I could still watch. I stand by what I said.
Yeah, okay.
He absolutely good player. I must admit, I did look down and I go, well, he's not in the stats line, or maybe he wasn't played as well as I remember him, but I'm perhaps remembering him from the game later in the weekend where he did play and score.
Yeah.
Okay, but then in that case, that gives us opportunity to talk about people like Chris Wellen. And convicted spousal user Robert Louis, who, for all his faults as a human being off the pitch, is having a tremendous season on it.